One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Senator Schumer said he reached out to you about meeting on the government shutdown. Will you meet with him before you leave for Asia on Friday?
Well, I will actually. I'd love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. You know, the country is so hot right now, and they've never voted against, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to work. They want to be served. They need the services of some people, and a lot of people need the money, the payroll. So I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet.
So you won't meet with them until the government. Just to be clear, you won't meet with them until the government's open.
The government has to be open, yeah. The government has to be open. You know how long it would take for them to do that? Just say, okay, government's open, that's it. There is nothing.
How long
They're
do you
not
think this could
negotiating.
go?
What they're doing is saying they lost the negotiation, and when we got the great big beautiful deal done, they lost that negotiation. Now they're saying, well, we want to get some of the things we lost. But the problem is the things they lost are very bad for our country. We don't want to have people come over from all over the world, from prisons and all, and have them have their health care paid for. We want to take care of people that are American citizens and all. So they want $1.5 trillion of money to be wasted and jeopardize the health care of other people. We're not going to do that. So I would love to meet with them. We want the country open first.
I'm not sure why it's so doggone hard, so complicated for people to understand this. I don't understand why it's so complicated for the media to understand this. We've been watching this go on now for 21 straight days. And one side is, waiting for the other one to budge, and it's not going to happen, especially if it's on President Trump's side. It's not going to happen. And the longer this thing goes on, it doesn't create any advantage to the Democrats. It makes it worse. Many people are now realizing, I don't care. Does that sound cold? Does that sound callous? How were you personally affected by the government being shut down? I'm sure there's a few people who are indeed hurt by the government shutting down. But in a grand scheme of the entire country, who is it that's being hurt? Well, we already know they're paying essential services. We already know that, the military is getting paid and things of that nature. One of the things that has bothered me a lot is seeing the tremendous amount of whining, bitching, and moaning from people who make millions and from people who are loafing in this country. The people who deserve to be taken care of, those who are afflicted, who can't do for themselves, those who, for whether it's physically or mentally, those are the people we need to take care of. I have no problem, and I'm sure President Trump doesn't have any problem taking care of those people. But I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the gamesmanship that's being played so hard by the Democrats on one issue. They have reduced the entire country being open down to one issue. All I hear all the time, every single time somebody sticks a microphone in their face, healthcare, 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 healthcare. And we already know what that means. That means they want healthcare, including for people who aren't supposed to be here. I'm sorry, I can't even shed a tear for it. As far as I'm concerned, keep it shut down. Keep it shut down as long as we need to so that Russ Vought can go in and cut. I can't show them here because they are so vile. But if you go online right now, and especially if you go on X and you search the term EBT, you are going to see video after video after video of able-bodied people. We're not talking about anyone who's disabled. We're talking able-bodied people screaming, yelling, and the reason why I can't show them is every single one of them, every other word out of their mouth is an F-bomb. You better have my effing EBTs. I'm going to steal effing. And I'm like, this is the problem, Democrats. Look at your votership. These are people who are able-bodied, who have been taking from Americans, taking from you and taking from me, and now they're freaked out because they might have to go, well, not might, they got to go get a job. They have to go earn their keep. And not like a job like you would have to work. They only have to work 80 hours a month. A month. And they're bitching. We have generated an entire legion of boob-sucking zombies. And I'm over it. I don't care if you can't feed your kids. Oh, Barry, how could you possibly say that? Because that's on you. I have to feed my wife. I have to make sure my grandkids and my daughter and her husband have what they need. I am not here to take care of your mouths because you couldn't keep your legs shut or you couldn't keep your thing in your pants. Now, if you were mentally, but maybe some of these people might be mental, I don't know, then that's a different story. I'd like to help you. We give to the church and different things. But these videos, they're not helping anybody on the left. They look insane. In fact, I had posted earlier, I had to wonder, are these TikTok, is it a TikTok trend? Are people just doing this for clicks and likes and they're making money off of TikTok? They can't be real. I cannot be looking at able-bodied men, most of them black, who are swearing up a storm and complaining because their EBT card of thousands of dollars per month is going to be inactive in a couple weeks. First of all, I never knew, and maybe none of you did you know that some of these people were getting thousands of dollars every month? I thought an EBT was to help you keep your family fed until, you took care of yourself. I didn't know that some of these people were getting $3,000 and $4,000 a month. Are you kidding me? Are they really giving people $4,000 a month? And health care? And bus passes? My gosh. I bet you, and I saw something, who put it up? I think it was Kyle Seraphin. And Kyle Seraphin had put something up, and I had to go verify it and find out it was true. That nearly 35% of Americans receive some form of EBT, SNAP, WIC benefits. 35%. I look at it almost like a drug habit. People, hey, you got to go cold turkey. There's no other way around it. You're going to have to go get a job and take care of your family and stand up and be a society, productive member of society. I can't take it. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. I saw somebody else, I think it was Shipwreck, who said, what if everybody at the end of the year, when they file their taxes, filed exempt? Make them collect. Because what's being revealed, and I don't know if this is the genius of President Trump. I'm wondering if it's the genius of President Trump. Showing everybody that we have a veritable cross-section of our society who enjoy getting nothing done. They just want to exist and take your money to do so. And then they're proud of it. They're taking pictures and showing their pantry. And by the way, everything in there is sugar laden. Every single thing from Frosted Flakes to Cocoa Puffs and all kinds of crap. Poisoning themselves for their future lives, poisoning their kids, and nobody cares. Not a single Democrat steps up and says, you know what, we need to show you what you can buy. Maybe put it in the grocery store. This is the EBT section. Oh, no, we could never do that. That would make them feel bad. That would make them feel like, they're less than. Well, if you can't hold a job, if you can't pay for your kids, you most assuredly are less than. And finally, we have a president who is actually getting it done. And it's causing these people to do brain contortions. So I'm going to spend some time tonight. We're going to go through some of the stuff that happened this afternoon first. This afternoon, President Trump did a celebration of Denali. I think that's how you say it. I'm not gonna show you that. I don't want people all pissed off. But after he had the ceremony, he took questions from the press, as you saw the first one from Caitlin. I'm like, are you gonna go talk to them? Why? I don't have to negotiate. I am not in a position where I need to negotiate with these people. Which is, I don't understand how Caitlin and the rest of the media don't get it. We're winning. Winning. If you want something from us, come see us. Tell us what you got. And President Trump has laid down his terms. Open the government, and then we'll talk. So there's your terms. In case you're wondering, what does President Trump want? What do the Republicans want? Open the government, then we can talk about some of the other stuff. Until then, go pound sand. And so you may be, I don't know what situation you're in, but settle in, because this could go for quite some time, or it could end tomorrow. It's all up to the Democrats. No matter what you hear on television, no matter what you see XYZ politicians say, they're saying it because they can't negotiate with him. They're trying to negotiate with you. They've already lost that argument. Talk to the hand. So they're trying to talk to you to see if, you can get riled up. It's not working. He's dropping poop on Harry Sisson's head. You know what's funny? And a lot of people won't realize it, but President Trump elevated Harry Sisson. Harry Sisson is probably making so much money because President Trump did a meme dropping poop on his head. If you have any idea how many clicks and likes and views Harry Sisson is going to receive now, he should be sending President Trump a love letter. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for elevating my profile. I am going to be raking it in. I don't have a problem with that. I'll salute him. You go ahead and make your money. You're an idiot, but go ahead and make that money. At least he's not up there trying to complain about EBT cards. So let's continue with the video. Before we do tonight's sponsor, in case you're wondering, no, we didn't have a cold spell here in Florida. I'm wearing this unbelievable sweatshirt hoodie from Bearskin. I mean, it's like military grade. This thing's incredible. If you guys haven't heard of Bearskin hoodies, I'm going to tell you about them now. You guys can look around. The smart people are locking in their winter gear now because this is hands down the best time to prep for the coming winter. Well, for people who don't live in Florida. Bearskin is running a 60% off deal right now, but only if you get your hoodie early. This hoodie is built like a tank. 340 GSM micro fleece, 10 pockets. I mean, you got pockets everywhere. All kinds of pockets on this thing. With a clean, rugged fit. I think it's rugged. I feel good. That looks awesome. Plus, it zips right into the heavy storm rain jacket to become 100% waterproof when you need it. Man, this thing is warm. So when it turns cold, wet, and windy, you're not scrambling from the last minute. You get free U.S. shipping, fast delivery, and you're locked into your winter gear already. That's a win-win. So do yourself a favor and text the word Barry to 36912 to lock in your 60% off discount. Again, text Barry to 36912. You'll get a link sent straight to your phone so you can check it out later if you're busy right now watching the show. And one more thing, when you support Bearskin, you're also supporting the Fallen Outdoors and the Hope for the Warriors veteran program. So you're not just buying a great gear, you're backing a cause that matters. Don't wait till you're freezing up north to realize your hoodie sucks. Get a Bearskin right now while it's 60% off. Text Barry to 36912.
Next one.
Leader Schumer, leaders been offered to negotiate on the Affordable Care Act with you if you hear from the government. Why won't you take the deal?
The bottom line is that's no deal. That's a partisan plan that leaves the American people high and dry. And they've asked us for 45 days and 45 days and 45 days. When they say another 45 days, later to them means never. We have to get them to the table and negotiate with us now.
Well, that's not clear, and that, is for people to judge the credibility of that response. At the end of the day, here in America, we're living in a moment of extreme political violence. And that impacts every single person in public service and the people that we are all working hard to represent. But we will not be intimidated. We will continue to show up and stand up and speak up for the American people, to improve their quality of life, to address the extremism that is being unleashed on everyday Americans by this administration all across the country. We will not bend. We will not break. We will never bow down. And when it comes to these extremists out there, you better watch how you talk when you talk about me. Next question.
Oh, Mr. Timu getting mad up there. You better keep your name out your mouth type thing. Who the hell does he think he is? He's been talking trash about President Trump and everybody else for years, and now he's all up in his fee-fees because some idiot said he wanted to take him out, and he's like, don't keep your name out your mouth type. Dude, come on, let's be serious. You're not doing anything for the American people. If you wanted to do something for the American people, let's really dwell on this, shall we? If you wanted to do something for the American people, where were you the last 4 years? Answer that question. Of course, the press will never ask him that. Where were you the last 4 years? Did you lower people's taxes? Did you try to make their housing prices cheaper? I'm not talking about the giveaways. I'm like, did you help people apply for mortgages, get mortgages, try to lower the interest rate. I am struggling to find anything that the Democrats did for any American who isn't broke for the last 4 years. And if anybody in the chat thinks they know the answer to that question, please feel free. I can't get anyone on X to answer that for me. They get mad. They start screaming, "Oh, you're a maggot. Oh yeah, you're a sellout." I just asked you a question. If you support a party, if you support these people, tell me what they've done for you in the last 4 years. Forget what happened since January. Tell me what they've done for you in the last 4 years. I can tell you, because I've asked so many people, they can't answer that. They couldn't give peace. They couldn't do anything with taxes. They couldn't do anything for anybody who is entrepreneurial in nature. The only people they cared about are broke people. That's a serious dividing line at this point. Now it's become more clear. And it's pissing me off, and it should piss you off, because you pay your taxes, I was going to say just like they do, but they don't even pay taxes. They got a different kind of privilege. They talk about white privilege. They got Democrat privilege. They don't pay taxes. They just get stuff. And you want to make the crowd of get stuff people bigger and bigger. What are you doing for John, who goes to work 9 to 5 in a warehouse or works 2 shifts to try and make ends meet? Are you saying, "Hey, listen, John, I understand that you're doing something right now. Can we reduce your taxes because this is a bind on you?" Nope. Are you doing anything to help the interest rates or anything with helping either get cheaper rent or cheaper housing? Nope. Why is that? Because John is a productive member of society. He has no value to you other than a vote. But you're not needed as much because you're just gonna, vote Democrat without even thinking about it. And now they're realizing they have to earn it. There are more people asking, "Well, I don't see what you're doing for any of us." And while they're kvetching and doing all the stuff they're doing, people are now starting to see, finally, they're seeing lower grocery prices. Eggs are down to like $1.50. They're seeing lower gas prices. It was inevitable. People are becoming more, dare I say it, prosperous. And not only are people becoming more prosperous, and this is the death switch for Democrats. The ceiling is being lowered so that the barrier to entry is more attainable. See, most people looked up and went, "Oh, those rich people." And now they're realizing, because President Trump is showing them, is you got a key too. You can get in on this. When I'm talking to people here about, silver and gold and different kind of entrepreneurial things, now people are actually saying, "Wait a minute, I can do this. I don't have to have $100,000 in the bank." Nope, you can start. But it's so hard to change people's ideology. Too many people think they can't start.
Do you see this shutdown ending in any way without Trump's involvement? Does he need to get involved?
Donald Trump definitively needs to get involved. He needs to get off the sidelines, get off the golf course, and actually decide to end the shutdown that he's created, that he has allowed to happen. We know that House and Senate Republicans don't do anything without getting permission from their boss, Donald J. Trump. And the reason why there have been no negotiations, 0 negotiations, since Republicans shut the government down, is because Donald Trump clearly wants the government shut down. He wants to inflict pain on the American people. And this will not change until Donald Trump gives Republicans permission to sit down with Democrats. And as we've indicated, we are ready, willing, and able to sit down anytime, any place, with anyone here at the Capitol or back in the White House to try to enact a bipartisan spending agreement that actually improves the quality of life of the American people.
He's lying. He's lying, and none of the reporters even call him on it. and you're begging for a negotiation. Understand, if you're on the losing end and you're begging for a negotiation, you're begging someone to come to the table. It's like asking a girl for a date who wants nothing to do with you. They don't care if you go talk to her friends, her mom, her brother. It doesn't matter. She don't want to date you. It ain't happening. And this guy here is going to everybody in the media. Well, Trump needs to call the... Trump don't need to do anything. Not a damn thing. And for some... Well, we know the reason. I was going to say, for some reason, the media doesn't ask those questions. Why do you keep asking Trump to make a negotiation? There is nothing to negotiate. Why don't you ask those questions? What is there to negotiate? We want a bipartisan. No, that ship has sailed. He's in charge. It's really that simple. You guys don't accept it. You don't recognize it, but that's why you're on the outside looking in. He doesn't need to budge. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope he doesn't.
And addresses decisively the Republican healthcare crisis that is devastating people all across the country.
You know, it's funny because as he's saying that, he thinks he's talking to people where that's actually true. But in reality, he's talking to people who don't find that to be true. And so the warriors that he needs to actually try and make something happen, they're not there. People aren't finding that, well, this is really bad for me. It's not happening. Obamacare may have an issue. Obamacare, which they designed to expire, that may have an issue. Those people who happen to be on Obamacare, well, that is something you need to take up with them at this point. It is not something the president needs to do. I don't know how I can stress that any further. I see people putting up this kind of crap on X, and it drives me crazy. It says, I wish conservatives understood this. Without blue states, America would look like a developing country. Does he not realize that a lot of the blue cities look like developing countries? Patchy internet, collapsing schools, no tech, no medicine, no future. Wait. Oh. I guess he hasn't been to Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Detroit. You're already describing something that's happened. And you're saying that, conservatives need to understand. No, we don't need to understand. Red states cash the checks. Blue states write them. You don't fund the nation, you drain it. The loudest shouts came from the emptiest hands. There are idiots who actually believe this crap. Let me try to educate this dude. There are no such thing, if you look at the entirety of the map, there are no such thing as blue states. The only thing you have are blue big cities. If those big cities, if the people would wake up and realize that they've been slaves for decades, there would be no Democrat Party. Philadelphia makes Pennsylvania close. New York City makes New York somewhat close. And just go on and on and on across the country, and it's that big blue city. Milwaukee does it for Wisconsin. The Democrats knew if we can do whatever we need to do in these big blue cities, the rest of the state is screwed. Now President Trump is coming in, and he's trying to chip away from the base in these big blue cities by merely showing people you can have a better life. This is one of the reasons I am convinced that they are fighting the National Guard. Because once people, like they're doing in Washington right now, and people in Washington are realizing, as I showed you last night, wow, life can be good. You're telling me we can just come out here and hang out and have barbecue and chill and go to the park and not be dodging bullets? Whew. I never knew that. Remember that lady last night? My entire life, I never seen anything like this. And she was 25, 26, and she had never seen safety the way she sees it right now. So what do you think will happen as President Trump rolls that out into blue city and blue city across the country, where people can feel it, where they can live like they're not lab rats stuck in a box? Most people can't even approximate what that feels like. Most people have no idea of being afraid to go out of their house at night. It is so foreign to most people that there are people in this country who basically have to lock the doors, shut the windows, pull down the shades, and don't get next to the window all night long. And we take it for granted. I can take it for there's a window here, you can't tell, but I take it for granted when I go to sleep tonight, there's nobody coming in that window. Yes, I live in a guard-gated community. That's different. You work to obtain something so you can have that privilege because you deserve it, which is what I was telling you this earlier. Don't let people tell you you don't deserve something. These people in the hood, they deserve safety. Nobody should be telling them you don't deserve safety. You don't deserve to sleep without helicopters flying around. You don't deserve to sleep without wondering if someone's going to kick in your front door. Because that's what they've been subject to for so long. And now they're realizing it. I don't need to live this way? You mean people actually go to sleep and not have to worry about something flying through the window? Is that really how you people live? So, Hakeem Jeffries, spare me the BS, because you haven't taken care of the people who you need to take care of the most. And now President Trump is showing them this safety, and he's cooking your goose.
Even texting with people on Capitol Hill here on the Democratic side, they know that this cannot go on too much longer. There's no talk of yeah, we'll do this through Thanksgiving. They're like, yeah, we know this is going to have to end.
In case you don't know who this guy is, I believe his name is Dan Turrentine. He's on this podcast with Mark Halperin and Sean Spicer, and he's also happens to be a Democrat with a brain. And he's also someone who raises money for the Democrats. So he knows there's a big problem here, and people are talking to him.
Pretty soon. Again, the question is who blinks. And I think that I do continue to think that by the end of next week, that middle part of the Democratic Party is going to start talking about how do we get out of this.
If that happens, you're going to see the likes of AOC and others begin to fracture. They won't be able to understand how this is going to be, that once they wave the white flag, there's no coming back. They know it. Their rank and file members know it, but they now know, and it's beginning to sink in. He's really not budging, is he? Nope. And Russ Vought is going to keep chopping things. Yep. And all this is just going to keep happening. Yep. And so what happens when they have to acquiesce? Understand, this machine, this giant boat, that's going to take a lot to turn around. I mean, you've seen cruise ships when they have to turn. They're huge. It takes a long time for aircraft carriers and big boats to turn. Well, imagine that big aircraft carrier being the Democrat Party having to make a turn, an abrupt turn. How do you explain it to the rank and file people? How do you explain it to the press, who've done nothing but 21 days but try to carry your water, and there's not going to be any excuses? Well, we got beat. Trump beat us. That's what it's going to come across as. And then biggest problem they have is when they make that turn and flip and wave the white flag, how do you explain it to the nuts in your party? The Antifas, all these nuts that are having rally after rally after rally. What do you tell? How do you explain to somebody, we lost? See, that's problematic. That is hugely problematic at that point, because if their messaging isn't correct now, what kind of messaging are you going to have when you wave the white flag? I wouldn't want to be that strategist. Hey, okay, so we're gonna capitulate and toss it in, throw in the towel here. What do we tell everybody? Trump's a meanie? Well, they already know that. They already called them every name in the book. What are you going to tell people who support you without them realizing these people suck? I'm jumping on this Trump train. He just whooped your butt, and he didn't care, and he rubbed it in your face, and he's putting up memes with planes dropping poop on people, and he's putting up king hats. What? You don't think that has an impact on people? You're sitting somebody going, he's kicking your butt. And now you're going to capitulate and go, okay, so we've agreed to accept the terms of the deal. You had no choice. What are you going to tell everybody? That's going to cause them a lot of problems, because there are some people that want this thing to fight to the end. And then when the Supreme Court or whatever says that he can actually put the military in the cities, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, that is going to be absolutely delicious. Just sit back and watch when that happens, because that will indeed be one giant delicious moment, and I can't wait for it. Let me tell you about our other sponsor tonight. It's the MAGA Offers. You ever see something and think, yeah, that's me? That's exactly how I felt when I first saw the Trump Never Surrender gold sneakers, but I got the high tops. And I know some of you have seen the high tops. I've shown them before, but let's be real, high tops aren't for everybody. That's why I'm just as pumped about these new ones. They're more casual, more wearable, and just as bold. Sneakers you can throw on every day and still make a statement. And trust me, these aren't just shoes. These are conversation starters. The gold shine, the red and white and blue accents. You're literally wearing your American pride on your feet. And let me tell you, nothing shuts down a woke lecture faster than walking in with these bad boys on your feet. But here's the thing. They don't just look good, they feel good. Comfortable, durable, lightweight. These aren't the kind of sneakers that you'll leave in a box. So toss your dusty old worn out shoes away and everything you've been wearing that has holes in it, and get yourself a pair of these bad boys. The best part, that message, never surrender. Every time you put these on, it's a reminder, stand strong, don't back down, keep fighting for what you believe in. They also make the perfect gift as we head towards the holidays. We all know someone who'd flip out if they unwrap these. Whether they're a die-hard Trump supporter, a collector, or just someone tired of wearing the same shoes as 20 other people in the room. Head to themagaoffers.com/Barry15. That's the THE MAGA MAGOFFERS.com/Barry15. Use that link for up to 15% off your entire order today.
Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send tomahawks?
No, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals, agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line of battle, the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody take some time off, because you got two countries that are killing each other. Two countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. We haven't made a determination.
All right, so this is the press conference that President Trump held after the Denali celebration. And so he's going to go through the press. It's about 15 minutes worth of questions. I love the fact that every time he does something, he's talking to the press. He's commanding, he's putting his presence out there, and there's some interesting exchanges that are be coming up.
Are you asking the Justice Department to look into the federal investigations into you and look for compensation, and how much are you asking for?
Who's asking for what?
Are you asking the Justice Department to pay you compensation for your federal investigations into you? Are you asking them to pay compensation, and how much?
Into me? I don't get any compensation. I do it for nothing. I gave up my salary. Into me?
No, it's going to be the Justice Department. Are you asking them to pay you compensation for the federal investigations that happened to you? And how much are you asking for?
Well, I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true. That's very interesting. No, I get no salary. I gave up my salary. It's a good salary. Not as much as these guys make, but that's okay. It's a lot of money. And I don't, as you know, I didn't take it in the first 4 years. I'm not taking it in these 4 years either. But as far as all of the litigation and everything that's been involved, yeah, they probably owe me a lot of money. But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House. And we're doing a great job in the White House.
I think he knew that he's about to get a $200 million windfall from the lawsuits of how they treated him. And that $200 million is probably going to pay for the expansion of the new ballroom. Now, I saw something interesting today. All right, let me go ahead and put on a little bit of a tinfoil hat. Because as I read it, well, you know what? Let me find it so I can show it to you. Let me do that.
As you know, the ballroom is under construction. It's going to be. They've been trying to get it for 150 years, and it's really. I think it's going to be fantastic. But we'll see what happens. I mean, we have numerous cases having to do with the fraud of the election, the 2020 election, and because of everything that we found out, I guess they owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for really. I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen. And so the way we go, I know Kashya's working on it. Everybody's working on it, and certainly Tulsi's working on it. We can't let that happen again to our country. Look at what's happened, where you have millions of people being allowed to come into our country, all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, they're drug dealers. The people that they've allowed to come into our country, we cleaned them out in Washington, D.C. We have a very safe capital right now. We have a capital that's as safe as it can be. But I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask the lawyers about that.
All right, so I found this post. Now, don't come at me. Don't come screaming at me. I just want to give you food for thought. Let's just call it that. Food for thought. You may think it's crazy. You may go, that's worth digging in. In any case, I want to show you something because of all of you saw what happened. He decides he's going to go ahead and do the renovation on the back half of the White House. And everybody knows, anyone with half a brain knows, there have been a number of renovations. A bowling alley, a pool, basketball courts, all kinds of things have happened that certain presidents have done to renovate the White House. Never had anybody cause this much uproar, cause these people to completely freak out because President Trump is doing a renovation on the White House. What was very interesting as I started digging into this today is that people weren't asking what I think was the really big question. The really big question was, why was it unannounced? Why wasn't there some grand revelation of the plans? Hey, here's what we're going to be doing out back today. Here's how it's going to look. Here's what we're going to do. Here's where the money's coming from. Hey, I'm so proud of the plans I've put together to renovate the White House. Nope. Nothing in advance. Nothing. The first people heard about it was when there was a picture where after the backhoes or cranes were out there tearing the ass end out of the East Wing. And people were like, oh my gosh. And then so many people on the left completely freaked out. So many high-level people on the left freaked out, including Hillary herself. She completely went ballistic that construction had begun. Why? Why did it bother them so much? Why did they try to make it an issue? I've been struggling to find this information out myself. And so I saw this post and I went, I don't know if it's real, but it's definitely food for thought. So I'm going to share it with you. I'm just going to read this with you, and I want you to take something away from it and just wonder to yourself, self, does this make a little bit of sense or not? You're told that demolishing the East Wing is about building a new ballroom. Yes, we have been told that. What if I told you it was about demolishing the underground tunnels? And when I read that, I just went, oh. 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 Nobody knows. The backhoe and the cranes just showed up. They had been working already. By the time people took pictures, half the back of the White House has already been ripped out. Nobody knows what they've dug or filled in. And I read that and went, oh, that's interesting. And of course, when I see stuff like that, I don't put on the conspiratorial hat. I put on the research hat and go, let's dig into this. Let's continue. What if I told you it was about demolishing underground tunnels? You're told that the shutdown is due to the inability for Democrats and Republicans to reach an agreement. What if I told you it was about recess appointments for Trump judges who will be overseeing the legal takedown of the cabal? Oh, wait a second. Not sure if you've been paying attention to that. Media's not talking about it. Are you aware that I think it's upwards of 100 new judges have been seated? 100 hand-picked judges by President Trump have been seated while this government has been shut down? Remember, we talked about recess appointments a long time ago, and nothing ever happened. And now all of a sudden, 100, I don't even know what the number is right now, but it's a whole bunch of people have been confirmed. They've been confirmed en masse. Let me see if I can bring up like one of them. This woman, where is she? But if you look it up yourself, okay, here's one. Breaking, U.S. Senate confirms Trump nominee Ann Lee Moe to be U.S. District Judge for the Middle District of Florida, 53-46. Activist judges are in shambles. The entire backlog is being cleared. And so when I saw that, and I'm like, wait a second, why is he now doing the recess appointments? And why are the recess appointments, for the most part, judges? I don't have the answer. But what I do know is when I read that post by Joe M., what it caused me to do was to go in, because I couldn't refute him. You can't refute me right now. I'm just saying, like he said, what if? And so in order to refute somebody who says, what if, you have to have the counter argument. What if it was about demolishing the underground tunnels? And you're going to think, well, nobody would know. Nobody would know. Secure site, walls, fences. Nobody knows what's being done back there. All you see is the half of the building chopped out. And they had no prior information whatsoever, no groundbreaking. Remember, President Trump is a developer. I didn't see anybody out there with a gold shovel making a picture. All right, so think about that. And more than think about it, go ahead and start doing some research. And then the second part is, what if I told you the recess appointments for Trump judges who will be overseeing the legal takedown of the cabal? Can't really refute it, can you? How all of a sudden did they just decide to confirm 100+ judges? And the media isn't talking about it. It's like it didn't even happen. Something, as he says here, much is happening. That I cannot refute. Maybe you'll find something that'll tell you here's why, that's why, but you can't refute that there's a lot going on right now. A tremendous amount going on. So let's listen to President Trump.
Mr. President, a comment and a question, please, for you. First of all, you have just 1 billion+ hearts around the globe, including in India, by celebrating the Diwali in the White House right here. And my other comment is, Mr. President,
I like his question already.
In February, you and the White House staff gave a warm welcome to the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi.
That's right.
And after that, I decided to make a short trip to India. for you how popular you are in India. And I went there in a holiest also festival there. Millions of people were there. And also Prime Minister Narendra Modi was addressing a media event, 5,000 people. I was one of them there listening to him. And when I went to several states in India, what I found out, Mr. President, 3 people are most popular there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Donald Trump, Mr. Kash Patel, and also with the surprise, our White House Press Secretary, Caroline Levitt.
She's doing good, right? She is doing good. Superstar.
And Mr. President, my question is, you had a great relationship with the people of India when you visited India, and with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and also with the Indian American community. Where do we stand today, all those relations from 45 to 47 in the future, Mr. President? Please, thank you.
Well, we stand great, and the people of India, I love the people of India, and we're working on some great deals between our countries. I spoke to Prime Minister Modi today, as I mentioned before, and we just have a very good relationship. And he's not going to buy much oil from Russia. He wants to see that war end as much as I do. He wants to see the war end with Russia, Ukraine. And as you know, they're not going to be buying too much oil. So they've cut it way back, and they're continuing to cut it way back.
Mr. President, what did the Kremlin say?
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
An appeals court recently ruled that you can send the National Guard into
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon. Do you feel unfettered to send the National Guard into whatever city you want now?
Well, I guess so. That was the decision. That I can send the National Guard if I see problems. I looked at Portland over the weekend. The place is burning down, just burning down. We weren't there. We didn't spend much time there because we were waiting for that decision. But the court, probably maybe that influenced the court. But you look at a place like Portland, it's ridiculous when they say that there's no problem. The place was on fire over the weekend. But we won the case in Court of Appeals. I think it was the Ninth Circuit, so that's pretty good. And a very strong opinion that we have the right to use the National Guard. You would think that would be common sense. We have the right to use the National Guard to put out trouble. Well, that's how I got elected. One of the reasons I got elected. Yes.
He actually cracked a smile there. Yeah, I can do that now, huh? I can send the National Guard in, huh? You mean to stop trouble? Be afraid. Live nuts. Be afraid.
What changed your mind after talking to Vladimir Putin between then and now? Why did you think that a Budapest summit might be wasted time?
Well, I didn't say anything. I didn't say it would, and you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of things are happening on that front, on the war front with Ukraine and Russia. And we'll be notifying you over the next 2 days as to what we're doing.
Did you hear something?
A lot of things are happening.
Did you hear something from the
Kremlin to get it solved? Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is Putin asking for? Do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is Putin asking for?
I do. It's a vicious war. It doesn't really affect us. We sell equipment to them. We sell equipment to NATO. And NATO gives it to Ukraine, but we don't pay anything anymore. Biden spent $350 billion. The war would have never happened if I were president. Would have never, not even a million years. And Putin knows that too. Would have never happened. But it did happen, and I came in, and I have to see if I can put it out. But it doesn't affect us because we're not losing soldiers there. Although, when I first came in, that could have ended up, it's not going to happen. But it could have ended up in World War III. That was really out of control. So now it's they're shooting and they're killing people, and I think Putin wants it to end, and I think Zelensky wants it to end, and I think it's going to end.
Senator Schumer said he reached out to you about meeting on the government shutdown. Will you meet with him before you leave for Asia on Friday?
Well, I will actually. I'd love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. The country is so hot right now. And they've never voted against, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them. But I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to work. They want to be served. They need the services of some people, and a lot of people need the money, the payroll. So I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet.
So you won't meet with them until the government. Just to be clear, you won't meet with them until the government's open.
The government has to be open, yeah. The government has to be open. You know how long it would take for them to do that? Just say, okay, government's open, that's it. There is nothing.
How long
They're
do you
not
think this could
negotiating.
go?
What they're doing is saying they lost the negotiation, and when we got the great big beautiful deal done, they lost that negotiation. Now they're saying, well, we want to get some of the things we lost. But the problem is the things they lost are very bad for our country. We don't want to have people come over from all over the world, from prisons and all, and have them have their health care paid for. We want to take care of people that are American citizens and all. So they want $1.5 trillion of money to be wasted and jeopardize the health care of other people. We're not going to do that. So I would love to meet with them. We want the country open first.
Mr. President, a new poll shows that if Curtis Sliwa dropped out of the New York mayoral race, then Andrew Cuomo would only trail Mamdani by 4 points. Would you call Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race so that can happen?
Well, I looked at the polls, and looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York. It'll be very interesting. But here's the good news. He's got to go through the White House. Everything goes through the White House, at least this White House it does. And we'll have to see what happens. But if he dropped out, he's not going to win. And not looking too good for Cuomo either. But maybe, I don't know, if he dropped out, maybe Cuomo would have a little bit of a chance, but not much. Because it looks like the lead is, it's not a great lead, but it's big enough that he should be able to win. So, you know, I don't know that I want to get involved. It's really a question of, would I rather have a Democrat or a communist? And I would rather have a Democrat than a communist.
Will you meet with Mamdani if he wins?
Yeah, I'll speak to him.
Mr. President,
I have an obligation to speak to him, but I love New York. I've always loved New York. I just can't believe a thing like this is happening. I left New York, and we had a mayor, de Blasio, who was a disaster. But when I left, it was sort of before he could really take hold. And boy, New York was a hot city, and now it's sad to see what's happening, frankly. And with the communists in charge, look, you just go back 1,000 years. I mean, it's been done many times, 1,000 years. It's never worked once, so it's not going to work now either.
On your Mr. President, you're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've seen.
He needs help.
Have you seen pictures of the architecture? And
yeah,
what do you think
I did.
of it?
It's not too pretty. No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. I mean, he's building a library / museum. You know, you call it some museum, and usually they call it both. They call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And
I'm sorry. I just look at his face, and you can tell he just wants to bust out laughing. Him being a developer, he inside or behind closed doors, he must just guffaw at the way they've completely screwed up this monstrosity called the Obama Library.
Construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You know, you have I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we use the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggest that you get them involved. But they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget. And I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories. But that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too. Nobody knew it.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Russia remains China's top crude oil supplier in September. Are you considering tariffs on China?
Well, I mean, you read the same papers as I do, but I don't have to read the papers because I'm the one. Right now, as of November 1st, China will have about 155% tariff put on it. And I don't think it's sustainable for them, so I want to I want to be nice to China, but China's been very rough with us over the years because we had presidents that weren't smart from a business standpoint. Some were good politicians, some weren't even good politicians, but they allowed China to take advantage of us and every other country to take advantage of us. If you see, I made a deal with the European Union. I made a deal with Japan, with South Korea. Made a lot of these deals that are great deals, and I was able to do it. It's really national security. I was able to do it because of tariffs. And we're getting hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars paid into the United States. We're a very rich country again. We'll start paying off debt. We'll do a lot of things. We'll probably make a distribution out of some of the tariff money. I think we're going to make a distribution over the next fairly short period of time to people because we took in so much money from the tariffs. Just European Union, $650 billion. Japan, $550 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. That's even a lot of money for you guys, right? That's not bad, right? But no, we're taking in a lot of money, and it keeps people like this here because that's why they're coming in. I mean, you wouldn't be, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but generally they won't be coming in if it weren't for tariffs. They come in here and they don't have to pay any tariff. If they do it outside, they pay a lot of money, a lot of tariffs. The money comes to us. And in order not to pay the tariff, they come and they build here. That's why we have more plants under construction than we've ever had in the history of our country. And you wouldn't think it's complicated, but you would have thought somebody would have done this a long time ago, sitting in this beautiful seat behind what's called the Resolute desk. You know that, right? This is a very famous. This is even more famous than any of your desks. But your desks are very good.
Let's follow up on her question to you, because the New York Times is reporting that your legal team is seeking $230 million from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigations into you.
It could be.
Is that something you want your legal team to do?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity, any money. But look, what they did, they rigged the election. And as you know, we had, in one case, 60 Minutes had to pay us a lot of money. George Slobodanopoulos had to pay us a lot of money, and they already paid. You know, they paid me a lot of money because what they did was wrong. And, you know, when somebody does what's wrong. Now, with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, you know, that decision would have to go across my desk. And it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages? But I was damaged very greatly, and any money that I would get, I would give to charity.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Is the Democrat Party now more Zohran Mamdani's party than it is even Leader Schumer's or Leader
Probably
Jeffries?
is, yeah. I mean, maybe he'll run for president in 4 years. You have a communist president. That would be interesting, right? I don't see it happening. You know, I've always said you will never see, and I always talk about socialism, and you will never see a socialist so-and-so. And I was right. I say it in speeches, we will not have socialism in our country. And I was right. Communism, yes, but in other words, they skipped socialism and they went down to communism. No, he's a communist, and he's going to be maybe the mayor of New York. I don't know, maybe, you know, polls are wrong, but these polls seem to be pretty consistent. But he would be, I would say he would be the leader of the party. It's not Schumer. Schumer's shot. He's shot. This poor guy, I feel sorry for him. I've known him for a long time, but he's I think he's mentally gone. He's been beat up by young, radical lunatics. And I think Chuck Schumer is, he's gonzo. I really do. I think he's probably not going to run. It shows that he's losing in every poll. Now, this is hard. You know, he wants to meet with me. It's sort of hard to meet with a guy after I make a statement like that, but I'm just giving the facts. I think Chuck is probably finished. I know some people, Democrats, that would be good. Some good politicians and some, you know, reasonable people. But I understand that they would not have a chance of, you know, getting even the concept of holding the torch. They're not going to get it. But they have some people that I really believe they're low IQ people. They're stupid people. And they seem to be leading the party. So we'll see what happens. Look, the Republicans are strong. We have great leadership. We're very strong in every way. And we're going to keep it that way. But we are really a strong party. You know, our party's grown magnificently. We've got, look at all the union votes I got. Nobody thought that was ever possible. Look at the election where I won I won everything. I won all 7 swing states. If you win 3 or 4 swing states, you're doing great. I won all 7 by a lot. And I think the best thing when you look at districts, 2,700 versus 525. That's big. That's why the map shows all red. So we won in a tremendous landslide, and that's because people like our policy. I guess they like me, but they like my policies. Strong borders, good education, low taxes. You know, in the great big beautiful bill, we got the biggest tax cut in history. Not only no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, we got the biggest tax cut in the history of our country in the bill that we just approved. And I think people see that and they like it, and that's why we're doing well. But they are not. They do not have leadership. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
I don't know how this guy does it. I mean, it's just press conference after event after press conference. He talks for hours at a time. Man, we're going to miss him. We are definitely going to miss President Trump moving forward. Let me tell you guys, about, see if this button works. Yeah, it's working. All right, so this button here is working, so I can tell you about the Trump knives. Many of you guys know that we've been pushing to the Fanfare family this Trump red knife. People have loved it. They have purchased many of them. You guys have done a great job. Let me just demo it like I usually do and show you that. Ooh, I almost cut myself. Very sturdy knife, very big, giant, pretty good sized knife. Heavy, balanced. People in the chat can tell you about it. Very sharp. And it's got a window breaker here. And it also has a seatbelt cutter. And we were giving these knives away for free. You just had to pay the shipping. It was a $70 value, and all you had to pay is $12 or $14 for shipping, and you would get this knife for free. Now, Patriot Addict is sweetening the deal for the Fanfare family. Now you also get, this is an early rendition of the Trump replica knife, but you get both knives. And this one, the one that you're going to be getting, it's the black blade, as you can see here. It's even sharper than the other knife. It's got Trump's signature on it. You get both knives. Normally this would retail at over $150, but you'll get both knives just for shipping. That's all you have to do. It's Patriot Addict's way of showing everybody here thank you and supporting the channel. So if you'd like this knife and you'd like its friend as well, the red signature knife, you get both of them. Just hit that right there. Just go ahead and hit that QR code and you'll be able to order both knives. All you've got to do is pay shipping. Normally, like I said, $150 value, but you get it for just, what, 25 or 30 bucks in shipping. Thank you to the friends over at Patriot Addict. A lot of people have gotten them and actually like the idea of what these knives represent, and it's a good deal. Good knives, good knives. All right, so let me go ahead. So because I had some computer issues, I'm not going to be able to do a jump over tonight, so I'm just going to finish with some additional stories that you might want to take notice of. One of the issues that I had was computer system. I don't know if you guys have been following. I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on with AWS. It's just now certain sites are coming back. Sometimes things are going down. It's a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Bandwidth isn't as strong depending on where you're going. This morning I had an issue with bringing something to Rumble, so we're trying to get through this show, and hopefully by tomorrow everything will be back 100%. Also, I wanted to thank all of you. Every single one of you who sent prayers and well wishes for my grandson. It could have been a lot worse. He got released from the ER early this morning. Ashley, I don't know how she did it. She took most of her day going through and taking care of him. And then the kid wanted to go to football practice. I'm like, can you sit down and chill? You just got into a major head-on accident. He wanted to get out there and go to football practice. So thank you very much for your well wishes and prayers. They're definitely felt. So thank you very much. All right, so let me continue. Let's talk a few comments. let's see, garage sale for Obama. Yeah, Roku had problems as well. I mean, it was crazy. Some people couldn't even log into their bank accounts. See, I don't know if enough people know this, and this is, where is that? I'm trying to find it, where somebody says AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, powers 1/3 of the internet. Absolutely crazy. Oh, here it is. Invictus says Amazon AWS powers 1/3 of internet traffic, and it went down. I've heard there were some Amazon warehouses that just went blank. They couldn't do anything. Robots sitting, hanging out. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether it was a dry run or what, but that could have been very, very, very bad. Let me see what else we got here. Barry, I'm glad your grandson is okay. Thank you very much. You know, it's always that first 24 hours because you don't feel it. But I saw the pictures. Ashley sent me the pictures of the accident, and I'm like, he doesn't know he's hurt. He won't know until tomorrow when he tries to get out of bed. And ow! Yeah, you get that lower back. I got in a car accident a long time ago, and my lower back, as I've gotten older, has become, oh my God, it hurts. Grace said yesterday, my phone was out almost all day. So, you know, it wasn't everybody. It was sketchy, but people had all kinds of issues between banking, credit cards, debit cards, accessing websites, streaming, all kinds of different things. Excuse me. I had to try 4 times to log into the VA website. Amazon owning everything is going to cause us to go into the dark ages. That's scary. I hope that was a wake-up call. I hope that, I don't know who handles that in the Trump administration, but I hope that was a wake-up call where people realize, hey, we can't put this much of a liability out there where if one company goes down for a day, wow. But I loved what Elon was doing. Elon was all over the place. Hey, we're good here. We're good on X. Yes, of course, we know you got your own redundant service. Wow, it was the best advertisement for Starlink ever. All right, so I got some news stories for you, so I won't keep you that long, but let's listen to these.
No message of accountability here. And right now, in my office, when I got here, the prosecutor before me, the Biden prosecutor, did not paper something like 65% of the arrests. That means that when police made an arrest, the prosecutor wouldn't even prosecute. My papering rate is 92%. Those cops making...
All right, let's stop her there for a second. 65% of the people who got arrested in Washington, D.C. never got prosecuted. Why? I understand she's rattling off some stats here, but slow down, Judge Janine. Why? Why did they allow 65% of these hoodlums just to be a revolving door and not even prosecute them? That's an insult to the cops. And you got to imagine if that's happening in Washington, D.C., it's probably happening in many big cities across the country. Just because you get the arrest, why aren't they prosecuting? Could be anything. Could be people not wanting to be witnesses, not enough evidence to convict, so they have to drop it because people in the area are scared to talk up. Who knows? But if 65% of the crimes taking place were never prosecuted, that's a big problem. That's a huge problem.
Arrest, I've got their back. I'm going to file those charges.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. This week, the Senate is expected to vote on legislation that will pay federal employees and U.S. service members who've been working throughout the shutdown. Do you encourage your Democratic colleagues to support this when it comes on board?
It's my understanding that that is not a comprehensive bill that actually is designed to reopen the government.
It's not supposed to be a comprehensive bill to reopen the government. Somebody put up a bill all by itself, said, we just want to do this and pay these people. Will you at least sign that? Will you at least agree to release funds so these people can get paid? Nope. You won't even do that, you scumbag. And yeah, I called you a scumbag, so I'm not keeping your name out my mouth, Hakeem. You're telling me you looked this woman right in the face and said, no, it's not comprehensive, blah, blah, blah. No, we understand it's not comprehensive. It's a carve out. Let's just get these people paid. So you're leveraging people's paychecks. You're leveraging their livelihoods. You ain't hurting Trump. Just realize that you are not hurting President Trump. You are hurting these individuals.
While at the same time addressing the issues that need to be confronted on behalf of the American people, which include lowering the high cost of living and decisively addressing the Republican health care crisis.
That's not what I asked you. Why are you not willing to get these people paid on a standalone, one page, we agree to pay XYZ people? That's all you had to do. And of course, the media won't cover this. I don't even know what station this is that put this up. They won't even agree to get people paid. This should be screamed from the rooftops. Everybody probably already knows it. It's these guys. It's the Democrats who won't even allow a one-page document. Let's pay these people. Nope, won't do it.
So it's not legislation that I support because it appears to be more like a political ploy to pick and choose, giving Donald Trump discretion which employees should be compensated and which employees should not be compensated.
You can tell this guy has never negotiated anything in his life. It's the newcomers or nothing. We get to give all these people free stuff or nobody gets paid. It's not a ploy. Hey, can we just pay these people? Nope, nobody.
All employees should be compensated, and that will happen when we reopen the government.
Are you anticipating?
What a moonshine. What a complete idiot. And I cut that so you guys would know that they wouldn't even agree to just carve out payments for these people. Nope, wouldn't do it. So I don't know how they're going out and doing press conferences and saying it's Trump's fault when your people can hear, hey, are you willing to take this? Nope, nothing.
What Senator Thune is offering there is to have a vote on a Democratic or bipartisan plan to extend those subsidies so people's premiums don't go up, as they will now dramatically in January, if the Democrats simply agree to vote to have that temporary funding extension. Is that something you would be willing to agree with? You get your vote on health care, but you also reopen the government.
I think what we've said is that we will not support a partisan Republican spending bill, which is the bill that they continue to bring before the Senate and that emerged.
What's really interesting here is you can tell the guy from ABC News, John Carl, is like he's had it with him. Dude, that's not what I'm telling you. Why can't we just do this? It's a temporary fix, and then you guys can go sit around the table. See, what the Democrats are trying to do is negotiate in absentia. They just want you to just give me everything, and we'll come in and we'll sign it, then the government will be open. Then I got nothing to talk to you about. You want everything up front. No, it doesn't work that way.
From the House, if that bill guts the health care of the American people.
I don't know how these people can look people in the eyes. And there's a whole bunch of them on X who just don't understand that these guys are, well, maybe they do understand. Maybe they realize at this point that this is nothing but a ploy to try and get the newcomers back in their money.
What I think Democrats would challenge you on is that the Republicans fell in line behind a felon and a guy who bragged about grabbing women wherever he wanted to because he
just had to check on my monitor. It's 2025. Nicole Wallace from MSNBC is trying to get a losing podcast off the ground, and she's talking about the NBC tape from a decade ago. That ship has long sailed, but she can't get over it. You know, the NBC tape where he wants to grab women. Have you never been in a locker room? It's funny. My grandson's playing football right now, and I bet you the stuff that they discuss in the locker room would even curl her hair. I'm not saying it's okay, But that's how we talk. Not me. No, honey, I don't, not me.
As a celebrity, and the Democrats are trying to deal with the asymmetry of the political moment. How do you respond to that?
I agree with you, but here's the thing. Clearly, the American people didn't care about any of that because the American people were just focused on, the ideas that he was spewing. And it wasn't even just ideas. It was just, stating the obvious and pointing out a lot of things that Democrats may have been ignoring, like the border. Like the economy. He said it himself, man, we won on one word, groceries. And, you can't tout things like Bidenomics when people aren't feeling that in their pockets. You can't just ignore people's criticisms of the border and chalk it up to MAGA messaging. I'll never forget when MSNBC did that to me. And
she wasn't expecting that. Because there's no defense to it. See, this is one of the things that, again, when she brought up the PP tape, and not the PP tape, but the NBC News tape and everything else, is they live in the past. I'm going to have to do that for a song, living in the past. They don't have anything to offer anybody. They can't tell everybody, here's what we're talking about today. And so you got two liberals here, two big liberals. But at least Charlemagne is smart enough to realize, hey, you can't keep playing the same record. I've been a DJ. He's like, I've been in radio stations. I can't keep playing the same record all day. You got to change up your script here. And the Democrats don't seem to have any strategy to change things. Hey, listen, that fight has already been fought. Nobody cares what he was doing back then and what may or may not have happened with this woman or that woman or, Stormy sliding around polls or anything else. It doesn't matter. And that's probably the crux of the problem for the Democrat Party. Everything they talk about does nothing for you. President Trump, it's easy. I'm going to tell about taxes. I'm going to talk about increasing your income. I'm going to talk about prosperity. What are you guys talking about? Oh, he's a Nazi and maggot and fascist. And he played around with women. He was fast and loose. Who cares? He already got voted in because of what he said he was going to do, and you're still trying to fight the first election. They got nothing. I mean, less than nothing.
He did that to me based off me listening to people in New York City, listening to people in Chicago, activists in Chicago, and them telling me what their issues with the border were. And their issues weren't based on any type of prejudice for who was coming across the border. It was literally economics. It was, hey, these people are coming across the border and getting more resources than we are.
There's a term, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's called a post-mortem. And when you're doing a post-mortem, it's usually a couple days, maybe a week after a certain event happened, an election, a football game. Something happened, you do a post-mortem. Okay, what happened here? It's basically an autopsy of what just happened. These people are still doing a post-mortem for 2016. They don't understand how people could have voted for him. Instead of going, yeah, they voted for him, and then they voted for him again, and then they voted for him again, because he's talking to them with stuff they want to hear, and we're still talking about PP tapes and hookers and chicks sliding around on poles. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to think at this point, this Nazi, fascist, homophobe, racist thing, it's not working. You guys are stuck in quicksand. And Charlemagne's trying to tell them, hey, listen, people I talked to were talking about this, this, and this, and you wouldn't talk about what they wanted to hear. And so Trump had an open lane. And it's funny because he still has that open lane. They can't even jump into this lane because their ideology won't allow them to. Why? Because they only care about this subsection of the entire population. And so if this is all they care about, they don't care about your taxes and how much money you can garner and if you feel safe. They don't care. It's all about the vote. They simply sell the vote. the vote, the vote, the vote. How can we get more votes? And don't care about the person. And Charlemagne's trying to give her some knowledge here. Like, you might want to start looking at stuff people care about.
Like, we've been sitting here in these poor and disenfranchised neighborhoods for years, and we have problems with housing, but they're getting housing. And, we barely can make ends meet, but they're getting, stipends to be able to go out there and get food and things like that. How do you not listen to those people when they're having those conversations?
Because it wasn't important to them. You see, I think there's a lot of black people who are now realizing what he just said. You're giving money that was supposed to go to us. We've been the hood rats forever. We're supposed to be the ones who keep getting the money. And now you got a new girlfriend. And this Latina, you're paying her. And I'm not getting my EBT. I'm not getting my stuff, but you're getting it to Miss Latina. Why? Because she got a big old, never mind, I ain't going to say it. But that's how a lot of black people were feeling. And that was the initial pushback. The initial pushback was, we're not getting our goodies anymore. You decided to give the goodies over here, which you would expect. But what they didn't count on were people were going to go, well, if I'm not getting goodies from you, what the hell are you? What good are you? This dude Trump is telling me you got nothing to lose. And people turned. You see, when you stopped buying their allegiance, you had nothing left and you lost your credibility. If you lose credibility, it's very hard to get that back. You lose trust, it's very hard to get trust back. You screwed up by taking away their money and giving it over here. And initially, that was everybody's like, oh, they're just going to complain about money, if that's all it's about. And then you realize too late. Well, some people realize too late. Charlemagne realizes it. Hey, man, you screwed up. And the worst part about it for the Democrats is they can't fix it. And now, on top of everything else, you took away the money, you ignored people, you took over their baseball fields, their gymnasiums, you let these newcomers move in, told them they can't play sports, and now President Trump is, I'm going to make your neighborhood safe. You can't look away from that. You got kids. Like, wait a second. Maybe I was wrong all this time.
Now, I remember me repeating exactly what I just said based off the conversations I was having with people actually in the street in these areas. And MSNBC said I was repeating MAGA messaging. I was like, damn, that means that y'all really are not paying attention to y'all constituents.
I looked over just in time to see somebody say that Charlemagne is a moron. Sometimes you guys got to stay focused on what you're seeing. I don't care that he's a moron. I don't care that he said this or that or he had Kamala on. What I'm trying to show you is that as someone who's got the ear of the black community, he's telling Nicole Wallace, you blew it. And I can tell you from the black people I know, they are turning right. I showed you a video yesterday, and you saw in that video, there were a couple people who were like, I never seen this before. I don't understand how you're not seeing that. Forget that he's an idiot. Forget all that. He's trying to sound the alarm. Think of him as a fireman in this regard for the left, and the other firemen's, they're not paying any attention. I'm not showing you what he said to convince you that he's bright. It has nothing to do with that. The fact is that he has a large black audience. He's hearing what they're saying, and the Democrats are ignoring it. You got to focus.
And deportation numbers hitting record highs since President Trump's return to office. His administration booting more than 515,000
515,000 deported, 1.6 million voluntarily deported. That's 2.1 million, and another 500,000 are in jail. You're not hearing these numbers. People aren't telling you these things. That he's killing it. I mean, absolutely killing it. Not enough. I'm sure Tom Homan wants more, but it's still really good.
Illegal migrants so far. 1.6 million illegals have left the country on their own, with immigration agents arresting 485,000. DHS saying that Trump is set to shatter the U.S. deportation record by the end of 2025.
He's going to shatter the deportation record. I voted for that. I think you voted for that as well.
I'm almost wondering if these kinds of protests about nebulous things and about calling Trump a king when he's clearly not, on and on, is actually not a good thing for Trump, because it means that for Trump, the energy is on Democrats being crazy and hating him, like they did in 2024 and in 2016, rather than on issues where, as you point out, like the economy, he might be vulnerable.
So before Bill schools this guy, I want you to understand something. If I know you don't like me, if I know that you think very badly of me, the easiest thing for me to do is to enhance what you believe. Because the people who do believe in me are going to see your reaction and get closer to me. See, if you haven't ever been in a position where you use these kinds of nuances, sort of like, what's his name, Scott Adams, as he talks about building influence and knowing how to use things to increase influence. You want people, if you're President Trump, to talk crap about you. You want them. Because what happens, and we know it, it endears us. It makes us go closer to him. It makes us want to defend him. And he knows this, and so he locks them into a continuing cycle of bat poop crazy, and all that's doing is increasing his base. Bill's going to explain that to him.
There are a couple of truisms here. So Donald Trump believes that bear baiting comes from Switzerland in the Middle Ages, when you had a bear at the bottom of a pit and you put a carrot on a stick and the bear would get ferocious, but he couldn't get the carrot because you kept pulling it up. So Donald Trump loves to bear bait the people who don't like him. He goes out of his way to exacerbate any kind of grievance, all right? And he believes that that motivates his supporters, MAGA, even more. The more you hate me, the more that my supporters will rally to me.
I mean, that's some serious psychological warfare. Because as you see me being attacked, as you see me constantly under a barrage, you automatically want to help the person that you care for. So it bonds you even stronger. I hope you're seeing this, because this is exactly what's happening. Oh, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi, he's a homophobe, he's this, he's that. And every one of us were like, no, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. If they weren't calling him these names, his support wouldn't be as feverish. They're too stupid to know they've been bear baited. Don't poke the bear. They're too stupid. They think what they're doing is working, but in reality, what they are doing is making his base cemented to him. He's being assailed. He's being attacked. They're coming after his property. They went through his wife's underwear drawer. They took mugshots. They put him in jail. They tried to take his property. They tried to take his businesses. They tried to kill him. If all of that stuff never happened, you have to wonder how strong Trump would be today. I remember after he got shot on July 13th, and people were like, it's over. It's over. Call it a day. The election's done. Why was that the case? Well, you just saw it. Unfortunately, the same thing happened on a different scale with Charlie Kirk. He was doing well. He wasn't doing 20, 30,000 more chapters afterwards. You went after somebody, and people's humanity realizes that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. And because they watch you go after somebody, they get closer to the person who's being assailed. It's very simple, very psychological. Influence, as Scott Adams would say. He is a master of influence. He understands, I'll put myself out there because I know these people will they got my back. He said it metaphorically and he was laughing. Do you remember the statement he said? And when that came out of his mouth, so many people went, oh my gosh, did he really say that? Remember what statement it was. You know what I'm talking about. Think back. What did he say that was so crazy, drove the left nuts, and not too many people on the right really, he's probably right. He said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for me. When I heard him say that statement, I knew right then what kind of influence game he was playing. And what's funny about it, he didn't have to do it. It wasn't like it was a psyop that he had to create. They did it for him. You know, when most people are trying influence games and they're trying to get you to come to their side, they have to do something. He didn't have to. You went after him. You tried to arrest him. You made up the dossier. You did all this different stuff. Obama wiretapped him. Then you went and did the debacle of the 2020 election. Then, and they just kept doing it. And the more they did it, the closer we got to him. If there was ever anything in marketing or anything in strategy to show that was amazing. He was the beneficiary of being attacked over and over and over. And every time he got attacked, we're like, we got your back, bro. We're with you. And so he didn't even have to do anything. They did it for him.
And that is the president's thinking, which is why he doesn't moderate his stance. He doesn't try to persuade anybody who doesn't like him. He does things that other presidents would never do in speaking about his opponents, because he believes it works for him politically.
He doesn't have to believe it is working for him politically. Everybody says we've never seen this before. He posted a meme. Understand how that had to have happened. He had to have seen that meme. And he saw them, oh, I'm in a jet pilot. Oh, yeah, I'm a jet pilot. So what happens next? So you're flying over the rally and you're dumping poop on people. That's fantastic. You know what's going to happen? They're going to get pissed off. Post it. And I'm sure that conversation happened. What can we do today to piss these people off even more? It's so easy. Oh, go ahead and make a meme with me putting on a crown. Perfect. Piss them off as often as you can. They can't take it. They're not used to it. My supporters and my base love it. Tell me I'm wrong. You know it's right. We loved it. We love that he's putting it in their faces and rubbing their faces in it. We've never seen this before. Someone who acts like us. Somebody who's not taking any crap. Somebody who doesn't have one F to give, because he also knows if what has happened to him would have happened to you, how would you have reacted? Somebody kicked in your front door and went through your wife's underwear drawer, your son's drawers. If somebody had come and said, we're going to take your house and we're going to devalue it and we're going to arrest you and take a mugshot, and you knew you were innocent, how would you respond? So his response is basically tailored, because I know my base would probably respond the same way. Someone took a shot at you. What are you going to do? And so that's why I am very confident of what's coming. Because everything else he's done has been couched based upon how he thinks we would react. And so if he's done that the entire time, then the next shoe to drop is the Insurrection Act, the military, because that's what I would do. It's probably what you would do.
Well, yeah, he was making a point. I mean,
point?
why shouldn't the president? Why shouldn't the?
I'll tell you what the point is, Caitlin. The point is, somebody in his office, Dan Scavino, somebody created a meme. He put it out there from his own personal profile, and you're talking about it on CNN. You're actually making segments in the news. They all covered it. MSNBC here. Oh my God, I can't believe President Trump did. They all talking about it. Can you imagine the thing I told you before? Earned media versus paid media. Earned media is how much would it cost for you to have a nationwide broadcast of something you did today? You couldn't pay for it. That's why I was telling you, what's his name? Harry Sisson is like, oh, I'm going to cash this in. And if he's smart, he will do the same thing. He will endear people to him. See, Trump's picking on me. Nobody likes him now, so I don't know what he's going to do with it. But they're doing a broadcast segment on a meme.
President used a made-up video to respond to a rally that has a made-up reason. I mean, it's a non-existent reason. We don't have a monarchy in this country. We have a presidency won by Donald Trump, who won the popular vote, who won the...
At this point, she's sitting there. She's got to be thinking, am I really? I went to college. I've been in the Oval Office. Am I really doing a segment on a meme? Am I really doing a segment on a meme where the jet drops poop on Harry Sisson? Are you really making me go out there today and do this? Think how embarrassing that is. Hey, so what'd you cover today? Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia? Nope. I did a segment on a meme. He has turned these people into clowns.
Electoral College, who won all the swing states. We have a democracy. People voted and they elected the president, and the only thing they're mad about is that he is lawfully executing the office of the presidency and enforcing laws that have been on the books for a long time. So he made up a video, they made up a reason to have a rally, and I think it was kind of funny, to be honest with you.
Did you see the other woman? Your expression, honey, let me just tell you, your expression and the words that are probably going to come out of your mouth when it was your time to talk was exactly why he posted that meme. The fact that, number one, Caitlin had it on as a segment. Number two, that you brought in a Democrat operative to talk about it. If I was a Democrat and they say, hey, we want to come on the show tonight and let's have a conversation about the meme where he's dropping poop on Harry Sisson, I would have to say, you're kidding, right? You're going to have me get on the screen here and talk about a meme about poop. I'm going to have to pass. Call me back when you're ready to talk about something of substance. I am not lowering myself to discuss a meme. I don't need that kind of publicity. But yet, CNN did it.
Well, I want to start by saying I totally support the protests. I think that this is, a very important part of what it means to be an American is to raise up your voice in any form that you wish. We have these First Amendment rights and they are precious and dear. I also think that this was not indicative or representative even of the mainstream Democratic Party. These protests were overwhelmingly white. They were overwhelmingly elderly people, older people. Now, again, white boomers have the right to have a mass therapy session about the fact that Donald Trump won. But to call it a no kings protest, to act like he is a king is so utterly preposterous. This is a man who won the popular vote. He won every swing state. He is a person who is enacting the exact agenda he promised he was going to enact while he was campaigning. And so what they're actually protesting is the absolute perfection.
You can tell Charles, Mr. Lighten the Loafer's blow here. He can't wait. He's got something to say. It's coming. If this was a casino, I would say, put your bets down on what you think Mr. Charles is going to say. And most of you would probably bet correct and bust the house because they got nothing.
Of American democracy where a person campaigned on an agenda, won the popular vote, and is now enacting that agenda. So it was actually a protest of democracy, all of which is to say the only way to greet such a preposterous proposition, calling this a no kings rally when it's actually an anti-democracy rally, is to crap on it. I'm sorry, is to basically...
That's the crap on it. Oh, no pun intended. No, the pun was actually intended. Oh my goodness, they're still talking about crap.
Make fun of it. And I think that that has been the Trump administration's approach. They didn't try to stop it, God forbid, because he's not a king. They allowed them to have their say. They allowed them to go out there, and then they made fun of them.
You had an imaginary rally for an imaginary cause, and then got mad when there was an imaginary response like a meme. Oh, perfect.
What I've been warning about, what I've been warning Republicans about, because they love to say, oh, we're owning the libs. No, you're taking a hammer to the 2027 and 2029 version of yourself, a ball-peen hammer, and you're hammering yourself in the forehead. Like, the things they are doing now will be used against them by a progressive president.
Wait. I thought the entire argument right now was that it was bad to go ahead and punish your political opponents. But now you're telling all of us in advance that if we were somehow lucky enough to get back in power, we're coming after all of you. So I guess it's not so much a function of you don't want people to go after their opponents, you don't want them to go after you. You don't have that. I mean, they're saying it all over the place. So as soon as we get back in power, I think President Trump knows this, and that's why he's got to eliminate these people. We can't let them get back in power. We can never let them get back in power, but by any means necessary.
An independent megalomaniac who is a billionaire who becomes president of the United States. They are setting precedents for an all-powerful president, which they're fine right now because it's their guy doing it. But as you write in Axios, they're setting precedents that rip to shreds the constitutional norms that they've gone around yelling about for 50 years, whether it's, Article 1 powers like we did back when we were in power there to say, hey, we've got the right to balance the budget, or whether it's you pick whatever they were once champions of that they've abandoned. They're hurting themselves. This will come back to haunt them.
So understand what he's saying. Understand whenever you hear this, what these people are saying. What they are openly admitting right now is they're waving the white flag. You wouldn't be talking about what's going to happen in 2027. I didn't know there was an election in 2027. You wouldn't be talking about what's going to happen in 2027 and 2028 if you were going to deal with what's going on today. Oh, when we get back in power in like 3 years, well, you won't. You watch. You watch what we do in 3 years. What are you going to do now? You got a lot. That's way down the highway. 3 years. None of them can say, well, we're going to do something right now. So if you can't do anything right now, if you have no strategy right now, what makes you think you're going to be around in 2028 to be a formidable opponent? Where do you think people are going to be in 3 years? You're throwing in the towel on 2025 at the hope of being in control in 2028. Well, that's a long ways away. We're only 9 months into President Trump's first term. And you see what he's doing. What do you think he's going to do for future encores? What do you think's on deck? Well, I can tell you, I've seen his platform. You guys have seen his platform. I've gone through it. It's about time for us to do a refresher on his platform. But I don't know what we're going to do because almost everything that he had on that platform, he's already done. So now you got to be really afraid, because if he's already done all the stuff he set out to do, what are you going to do when he starts coming up with more stuff? Hope for 2028? That's not a good strategy.
If you think about, because your message has always been consistent, and you've spoken this way since you first came on the scene for a very long time, and you've always been clear about it. you could almost make a case that the true inheritor of the Sanders revolution is Trump. He's the most socialist president of my lifetime.
It's a good thing this is on Comedy Central. Jon Stewart is talking to Bernie Sanders, and he just said that President Trump was the most socialist president he's ever seen, and that he's been taking Bernie Sanders' ideas. I had to stop him. What? 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 Actually, to tell you the truth, and you're going to find out here in a second, Bernie Sanders has actually been taking Trump's ideas, and the same ideas I've been telling you.
Taking a percentage of companies to do business, that's a Bernie Sanders idea. Yeah. Doing a Trump RX where the government is involved in selling pharmaceuticals, that's a Bernie Sanders
idea. It's
idea.
not only some of his policies, some of his other policies, let's not forget, is throwing 15 million people off the health care they have.
People, 15 million people. People. You got it? It's people. It's not Americans, it's people. Okay, just so you know. People.
And doubling healthcare premiums.
He's not perfect.
And giving $1 trillion.
I didn't say he was perfect.
And giving $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%.
Is it frustrating that the thing that you fought for your whole career, Democrats are the ones who run away from scared, and he's embraced some of it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so what do we got to do?
So Bernie just said, yeah. I'm telling you, that studio audience must have looked around and went, what in the hell is he talking about? I'm pretty sure some of you went, what? What in the hell is he talking about? So now they're trying to put the whole Bernie Sanders AOC Mondami thing and try to say, well, that's actually Trump who's the problem. He's just like, he's a communist. Just go ahead and put up a sign and say, we lost. We have no idea how to deal with this guy. Can we just call it a day? You know, call it stupid people running the government on the Democrat side of things. They got no clue. Now you're going to call Trump a socialist.
Democrats find themselves in a place is we've shut down the government to protect subsidies for an insurance marketplace that funnels $800 billion a year into the pockets of all these insurance companies. Have Democrats box themselves into a corner fighting for a system that ultimately, to get the thing that you want, that I think the American people want, they're going to have to abandon.
I'm pretty sure Bernie didn't expect that he was going to a public execution right here. First of all, Trump's the socialist, and he took your ideas. And the next thing is, you guys are fighting for the ability to give insurance companies $850 billion. And now Bernie's like, oh man, just put me in a blender now. Just retire me.
Look, here's where we are right now, and I think it's not been made as clear as it should. If Trump gets away with what he wants, we are looking at 15 million people losing their health. 15
million people. 15 million people. Just keep saying it, Bernie. Just keep coming back to it, no matter what Jon Stewart says, no matter what any host says. Just keep coming back to 15 million people. This arbitrary number of 15 million people. You know what's funny about the 15 million people that Jon Stewart, nobody ever asks? He's going to say you're also going to make a gazillion people die. What happens if they just go back home? Why do they stay here if it's so bad? You can't have health care here. You're all going to die. Maybe we need to head back to Tijuana, huh? Maybe we need to get the hell out of here. Why would I stay if it's so bad? Bernie, you're telling everybody it's awful here. Everyone's going to die. Well, if I was watching that, I'm like, well, maybe I need to go back. Maybe it wasn't so bad where I came from.
Health insurance, and according to studies, John, 50,000 low-income and working-class people dying every
50,000 working and low-income people. He's not obfuscating. He's making sure he's making that distinction. and some study. I can do that. Well, I got some study that says, if these people go home, everything will be fine. If they just go ahead and get on a donkey and get the hell out of here and put, Jimmy on the back of the donkey and go together, and the Latina, put her on the back of the donkey, and all y'all can ride off together, then you won't die. You won't have to worry about big meanie Trump. Why aren't you telling people that? You know what? We don't want to see you get arrested on the street. We're going to give you some extra donkeys, okay?
Yeah, unnecessary.
Based on lack of accessibility to health.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
If you're low income, you're working class, you don't have any health, you have a chronic ill, you die. That's what.
They just pick stuff out the sky. You get sick and you die. Well, there's a long way away from get sick and die. Bernie, can we talk about that? If you get sick, you're over here. You die, you're over here. There's a long way between getting sick and dying. And you're saying if the newcomers don't have health insurance, 50,000 of them are going to die. How in the hell would you possibly know that?
They're saying, on top of that, all over the country.
Very clear. You do die anyway. Just.
Oh, John, why'd you do him like that, man? Why did you do him like that? Think about it. He just turned and looked at his arm. You're going to die anyway. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Bernie doesn't even know what... Bernie, you're the butt of a joke right now, and you don't know it.
You die anyway, but you don't have to die. You don't have to die
that way
just because you can't get to a doctor. That is disgusting.
Right.
All right. And then on top of that, because of the cuts to the ACA, you're looking at some 20 plus million people seeing a doubling of their premiums at a time when they can't even.
This dude is picking numbers out of the air, and another. Wait a minute. So if half of them are going to die, then what about the other 20 million? Where are they coming from? These people here, they're going to see their ACA subsidies go double, while the other 1.5 million, 15 million, there ain't that many. Or are you telling us there's that many? Are you telling us there's 30 or 40 million? Dude, you're digging yourself a ditch here, bro.
For healthcare right now.
Right.
All right. So your point is this a good system? No. But we
is this a good system to defend?
To defend today,
political
yes.
capital.
All right.
Okay.
But obviously,
right.
It is a system designed to make huge profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies.
Right.
Period. We have got to move to a Medicare for all single payer program. Absolutely.
They're going to die on that hill too. Everybody gets up. I understand the communist utopia, but at some point they got to give up the ghost, man. This isn't Cuba. It's not going to happen. You're not going to force people to do it. You got close with the Obamacare thing, but now that's falling apart. You're realizing replacing Obamacare is going to be a nightmare. I don't know what you're going to do.
Party that you caucus with.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Okay, I'll tell you.
Why do they not like you and trust you right now?
Well, I think independents are a different story than Democrats. But right now,
you realize if somebody says, how long has it been since you beat your wife the last time? Bernie didn't even catch that. They don't like you. The guy made a statement as a question. If I say, how long has it been since you beat your wife? I'm implying in my question that you beat your wife. He didn't say, do you beat your wife? He said, when's the last time you beat your wife? And then Bernie didn't even stop. He just ran with it. These people don't like you. How come they don't like? Hey, man, who says they don't like me? He can't focus.
I think the answer is people looking around them. Can they afford health care? No. What have the Democrats thought about that? Not a whole lot. Can their kids afford to go to child care? Well, no, child care is outrageously expensive. What about...
How about not having them? There's a novel idea. Don't have the kids you can't afford to take care of. Huh. I could have had a V8. Oh my gosh, it's so simple. How about teaching them that? Don't run around like barn animals. Don't do it. You can't afford it.
Housing. How are we doing on housing? Nobody in America can afford housing right now. Housing costs are actually...
Nobody? Nobody in America can afford housing right now. You know, I would go there, but then people get mad at me with the whole real estate thing. When people say housing is overpriced. No, it's not. Because if housing was overpriced, none of them would ever sell. None of them would ever sell. I can tell you right now, as I was talking to you guys about this, the red knife, and they're giving it away for free. If I told you this knife was $900, you probably wouldn't buy it. More than likely, not even probably, you wouldn't buy it if I said this was $900. But if I told you that this knife was President Trump used it to cut something in the roof of the construction, and he's auctioned off this knife, and then it's got value to some people. Housing is not overpriced. Can't convince me of that. I could have an argument with you all day or night, because if it's overpriced, then it wouldn't sell. So if it doesn't sell, the price comes down. I'm about to find out that in about a week. I got a house that we just bought. I told you we're going to put it on the market. I'm going to put it on the market for X price. And we're going to see what happens based upon everything in the market. If I get a bunch of offers, I went in too low. If I don't get any offers, I went in too high. It's only overpriced if I don't get offers. It's very simple.
Economical. You want to get your kids to eat decent food and not junk food so they don't become obese? Go to the grocery store. Find out how much it costs for decent quality food. What about rural America? Our hospitals are shutting down. So this country faces many crises. And I think a lot of working class people said, look, Trump is crazy. He lies all the time, but at least he's going to do something. Where are the Democrats? And the Democrats have got to make a very fundamental decision. Do you stand with the struggling working class, 60% of whom are living paycheck to paycheck?
I got a stat for you. Hey, Bernie, how long have that 60% been living paycheck to paycheck? You got any studies in that book of studies that you have? How long has it been that so many people in the workforce are working or living paycheck to paycheck? We've heard that term for quite some time. They live in paycheck to paycheck. He just said 60%. How many of that 60% have been working paycheck to paycheck? 10 years? 20 years? So in that 10 or 20 years that this 60% have been working paycheck to paycheck, have you done nothing to help them not work paycheck to paycheck? See, Democrats won't talk to me because it's an easy question. I'm like, well, if the problem is people are working paycheck to paycheck, it's not giving them free stuff. The answer is help them not work from paycheck to paycheck. Show them how they can make more money. I'm not making it up. It's very simple. There's only two ways you can improve your life. You either reduce your expenses or you raise your income. That's it. So if you're working paycheck to paycheck right now, yourself, you can see if you can reduce your expenses. If you can't reduce your expenses, then your expenses stay here, and your only option is to increase this side. There's your prescription. Make more money or cut some expenses. That's it. The government shouldn't be involved. What the hell are you talking about, Bernie? We got to stop these people who are working paycheck to paycheck. They don't need to be working. Show them how to make more money. You never watch, what's his name? Mike Lowe, who does dirty jobs and stuff. Show these people in the hood that they can go, work under foundations and clean out rats. Oh, you want to do that, huh? Make a whole bunch of money. Show them that they can work on oil rigs. I don't want to do that. Show them where the money is. You remember Sam Kinison? I should play that next time we're on Rumble. And he tells that joke. And he's like, we have poor people. We just take them to where the food is. You see this? This is sand. You know what's going to be in 100 years? Sand. Why do we keep doing trick or treat for UNICEF when these people keep living in deserts? Take them to where the damn food is. Take these people and show them how to make more money. Oh, there's a novel thing. Actually help them become more vocationally valuable. Why does no Democrat ever talk about that? How can I help you, Fred, make, I don't know, an extra 10% each week? Maybe an extra 20% this week. Instead of just telling me, millionaires and billionaires.
To survive. Are you prepared to take on the oligarchy, the Musks and the Bezos who have never had it so good? Live in a society where the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 93%. Those are the issues we've got to put on the table.
Senator, you
and
always bring an affirmative case that is true. A lot of Democrats don't, and you say what you want to happen, and it's all in the book. People should pick it up.
Yeah, Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Fight oligarchy is out.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Bernie, the socialist, was on television hawking his new book. I don't think you guys saw that in time. Hold on. Let me see if I can rewind that. Here, hold on.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Fight.
Bernie's selling a new book. Hey, buy my new book, Fighting Oligarchy, by paying me to show you how I'm fighting oligarchy. So I'm actually a capitalist. I'm masquerading at night as a socialist. I can't make this up. And the new book in stores tomorrow is Fighting Oligarchy by Bernie Sanders. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. You guys see this now? You understand how many people are being played out there? Absolutely played. The dude's hawking a book, making money. He ain't giving it away. You can go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon and buy the new book by Bernie Sanders, Fighting Oligarchy. It doesn't say proceeds go to. Nope, he's pocketing that money. You go ahead and buy the book, Fighting Oligarchy, from Bernie Sanders. Right now, some of you guys can whip out a credit card, go to Amazon, get that damn book, give Bernie some money. Bernie has found a way to increase his income. At the same time, telling everybody else they can't. I don't think the government wrote his book for him. Oh man, I got a comment waiting for me, and I'm like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. I got to do it. There's a dude sitting here made a comment. I can't help myself. It's late. It's 10:30. I got to give it to him.
Oligarchy is out.
It's easier for the politicians in D.C. to go away from each other and say, we will win this way, while people are losing their paychecks. If Congress just said, we're not going to take our paychecks till we figure this out, that would be a noble step in the right direction, I would say.
That's not everybody can afford to do. You got some young people there with kids there.
Either can the people that aren't getting paid, though,
I think
and
that's
there's a holdout.
I think that's a fair.
Why don't you guys do away with your paycheck? Oh, no, we can't do that. There's some young people If you don't realize this is a game, you're not paying attention. Every time I talk about this, I get somebody who says this. Derek, you've been chosen to be exposed right now. You may never come back after this. That's okay. I'm just being helpful to you. Derek says, people dream of getting homes. Let me stop Derek right there. Stop dreaming, start doing. Put together a budget, put together a plan where you need to be to get a home. Let me ask you, Derek, what do you have for a down payment? What do you have for credit? Where do you want to live? What's your budget? What are you making? See, it's easy to say people have a dream. Stop dreaming. Your dream house is after you've had 2 or 3 houses. You want to get into a house, I'll get you into a house. Maybe. Not knives. Housing is obviously overpriced. Regular people break themselves to get in homes in 2025. When you say stuff like housing is obviously overpriced, you sound like Bernie saying 50 million people are going to die. You have no data to support that other than your own emotional rescue at this point. You're talking to someone who's been involved in real estate for 30 years. Housing is a commodity to me. I know how to buy and sell property. I know where to look for property. I know how to make an offer on property. I know where to get financing for a property. I know whether or not I can buy that property no money down. I often know who I'm going to sell it to before I buy it, depending on the neighborhood. Can you answer any of those questions? 1, 2, any of them? Then you don't have a plan. It is indeed a dream. Wake up, pinch yourself, wake up from the dream and say, you know what? I'm going to try and make it happen. I'm going to talk to somebody who knows what the hell I'm talking about, and maybe they can show me how to formulate a plan. Ah, there's an idea. Actually, instead of whining and kvetching and crying like a... instead of doing that, the question should be, I'd like to buy a home. It would be my dream to buy a home, but I'm ready to stop the dream and start acting. What do I need to do to buy a home? And unfortunately for some people, you may not be ready. I could tell by your comment, you're not ready. You don't have anything. What's your credit score? See, all the stuff that people say something's overpriced, you can't get into the market. And I'm not browbeating you. I'm just trying to tell you, these are all the questions. If you called me and you said, Barry, I'd like to buy a home, first thing I'm going to ask you is, how much money you got? How long you've been working? What's your annual income? What's your debt to income ratio? What's your credit score? Where do you want to live? What's the configuration of the house you want to buy? Oh, see, there's a whole lot that go into that recipe before you can even buy the house. If you can't answer those questions, then it is a dream. It's a pipe dream. Houses down here can go in excess of $20 million. Houses down here also can be purchased for a couple $100,000. You can't live here. You may not be able to live here. Where is it you want to live? Have you ever done any research to find out what are houses in your neighborhood? Don't go looking at a waterfront property or something on a beach. If you've never been in the market, you're already telling us you can't afford it. You might as well have posted something. You might as well have posted, I can't afford a house. It's not overpriced. SB said he had to banish him. That's what ends up happening because they get pissed off. They get pissed off when you start asking the hard questions. In order for you to understand where you are financially, you have to understand where you've been financially and where you need to go financially. So if you want to buy a house, it may mean you get a 1-1 condo first and prove that you can pay the mortgage. It might be a $60,000 condo, but it's yours. There are condos down here you can buy for $90,000. It's yours. And then you can say, okay, I got a plan here. And that first plan is, what the hell are you doing for income? It's overpriced. Yeah, so is it. People probably say that about Cybertrucks. A whole bunch of them on the road, though, right? Yeah. You see them in the intercoastal here, you see all kind of boats. Oh, those boats are overpriced. Not to the people driving them. I'm sure people look at our cars and go, those are expensive cars. Those are overpriced. Not to us. It's all relative, bro. Come on. Come on. Get in the game. Understand. Plan. I'm not going to go on a different tirade here, but he wrote the comment. I just happened to see it. Your dream may be a tiny home, a mobile home. Yes, an apartment, duplex, ranch style, beach house. Depends on you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. The Democrats failed this country in every way, and that they still pretend to hold the moral high ground. What a joke. And that's what happens. People don't understand that they've been bamboozled way too much. Let me see if I can find this other video before we go. There was another video. I don't know if I was holding it for tomorrow. No, I don't see it here. Hold on one second. Let me look. Nope, it's not in here. Because there was a video that I saw earlier. Wait a minute. More of them are loading here. No, I didn't save it. I'll save it. I'll get it tomorrow. There's a video of Bernie Sanders talking about his multiple homes, how he owns 3 houses now. And see, everything he's doing is capitalist in nature, and yet he tells people he's a socialist. If you're self-employed, it is frustrating for financing extra paperwork, but we did it. Very good for you. Congratulations. Some pickup trucks, 60, 80, 100 grand. Not for me. No way. Exactly. Expensive trucks. Very expensive trucks. There we go. Champagne taste on a beer income. You see, when a lot of people come down here and they're like, I want to live over there. No, you're gonna have to hit. You're gonna have to hit the lottery 2 or 3 times. 2 or 3 times. All right. So I'm not gonna belabor that point. Let's get out of here and have a night, and then see what's going on tomorrow. Before I go, let me see if President Trump, usually since it's this late, it's 10:45, the White House has usually posted his schedule. So let me see if there's anything we can be made aware of. I haven't seen Caroline Leavitt in the last couple of days. Maybe she's doing a presser tomorrow. Let me check real quick here. And tomorrow is Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. President Trump is in a meeting with the Secretary General of the NATO at 4 o'clock, and that's it. Nothing until 4 o'clock with NATO. So that means I get to do a normal day show. I'll get to go on at 1 o'clock and be able to take it easy out there. Love it. All right. Thank you, President Trump. Take a day off, bro. Watch him change it in the morning. Watch something come up, and he'll end up coming out there. He always does, right? All right. Let me look at Super Chats, and then we can adjourn for the evening. 1 second here. Okay. And where are we? All right. And this is correct. 1 second. Boom. All right. Tijuana border jumper. He's the epitome of beta and not even male. CR, truth. We have a Democrat governor because of Kansas City. However, Kansas is red and voted for Trump. It can be done. Exactly. Diane Kelly, love your shirt. Do you have shirts and those hats for sale? The hats we'll be giving away. The shirt that I'm wearing tonight is from Bearskin. I'll see if they can get some to give away. But thank you. Mitch Lyons, this is a spiritual war. Pray for Trump. They are coming. They most assuredly are. Excuse me. Barry Rock, love my fanfare family. Thank you, Ann. Donnie Lewis, Trump is going to make the Trump stamp permanent at the White House. Sky Cheryl Courtright, his glory with Dave Scarlett spoke about the underground tunnels for a few years now. Trump also had a dinner last week or so and announced the ballroom being started soon to the audience. Betty Corder, total genius. Recess appointment. Somebody said no, they're not in recess. The Senate is in session, but they still are pushing these through. I think they went nuclear because they're only pushing them through with a 51 majority. Our president's a genius that knows how to turn a negative situation into a positive one. Indeed. Demon of Cybertron sounds like he really wants Mandami to win. Sometimes we've heard the talk before about sometimes you have to show people. Can you imagine what will happen to New York, his town, with a communist mayor? Where are we? Al Phelps. They poked that damn bear. They sure did. Judy Branch. Thanks, Barry. Always enlightening. Glad your grandson is okay. Thank you very much. Mariah. I guess we'll have to wait to find out how many immigrants come forward looking for money as if it's important. Elizabeth Rancor. I audit mortgages for a living. Housing is definitely affordable. Volume is not slowing down. Yeah, see, I'm saying there are people even in our chat who are in the business who people can talk to. You don't have to know everything. Unedited Billy, Barry, you're a great blessing for us. Thank you. Tanaya, Jeffries equals robot, Wallace equals brain dead, and Bernie equals Muppet. Exactly. And Brother Neo, the dream starts with you. Thanks, Barry and team. Have a good evening. Always truth from your channel. Thank you. I mean, I just try to let you guys know that you can do things. You know, a lot of people don't realize it. They've been told otherwise, and it stunts their ability to move forward. Just know that you may not have the answers, and it may be hard as hell to do what's needed, but you definitely can do it. And what's the worst that can happen? If you fall short of the sky, you're still way above everybody else. Talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm going to take some rest tomorrow, go get a stretch. I love getting stretched. Just do a stretch tomorrow, then I'll see you guys about 12:30. Danny, thank you. Captain Danny with a late chat. Trump has a plan for New York. I bet he does. All right, everybody, have a great evening.
Bye.